It's really relevant that you don't ask for money, people offer you money.
It never starts off as, I need money now or here's my price. It really also starts off as, what are you looking for? Over the course of just listening, getting to know people in authentic ways, it becomes kind of obvious when I can add value. And I'd like to think the people I talk to have the integrity base to make sure that people are taken care of on a monetary level.
Hey, this is Mike from IntroStars, and today I'm super excited to bring you a brand new episode of the Super Connectors podcast in New York. For today's show, we've got a really special guest. We've got Davion, the ultimate super connector for private equity and fundraising for startups. So if you're looking for a great introduction, Davion's your guy. Hey, Davion.
How are you, Mike? It's good to see you.
So good to have you on the show. So Davion, what does it mean for you to be a super connector? When you hear those words, What is the first thing that pops into your head?
I think the first thing that comes to mind are people, just generally speaking. You want to be able to be in a place and time where you can always attract more people. And then I think the best thing about being a super connector is that there's kind of this innate desire to add value to the people that you're around. And so I think that's where I get a lot of kind of my yearning to be in this space from. It's like, it's not just meeting you, but how can I add value? And the last thing that I'll say is I don't have a ton of money. And so typically my value is creating relationships and actually sharing those relationships as well.
I mean, we all love to connect people. I think it's in our human nature to try to bring the right people together. It's like solving a puzzle.
Yes.
This piece of puzzle, you want to bring them together to create order out of chaos, right? And so if you can get actually, pleasure out of it and be successful and make it happen for others, you're going to love it. You're going to enjoy the journey.
I agree.
So tell me more about your journey. How did you become that super connector? When did you start connecting people? And how did it become a thing where you do this all the time?
Fair enough. So, first, I think it was undergrad. So I'm a Villanova grad, and we had this speaker come to one of our meetings for business school. And it was the first time that I saw somebody who I wanted to emulate, who didn't have this kind of narrow view of success of, high pedigree school, investment banking job. And what I realized about him was he named himself the master connector. Like, that's why he was in front of us. And so it was the first time where I wanted to emulate somebody. And he gave value to people, not because he could solve a valuation problem or because he could kind of lead them into the fire of anything. It was more so because he had a deep, deep resolve to make sure that people who had alignment were meeting one another. And so I was impressed, and I kept that kind of fire within me. And now as a relationship manager, a lot of what I learned from him kind of still stays with me.
So that's amazing. The master connector inspired you to become a super connector.
Right,
so
exactly.
I'm really hoping that with this show, we can inspire the next generation of potential super connectors who look at you, me, and lots of other super connectors and feel inspired to follow those footsteps.
Right.
I think it's the ultimate gig, right? To connect people.
It is. It really is. And I think the other thing is it goes underrated as a skill set, right? Because to your point, it comes so naturally to say, hey, I know so-and-so, you keep a periphery, and then you realize that that actually is very valuable, not only to you, but to other people. And so the concept of being able to then monetize that was always a little weird to me. Yep. But you have to actually take it for what it is, which is an actual skill set.
And so today, tell us more about that monetization. Like when you connect people with each other, it's all about relationship, about trust, about your reputation in the marketplace, your personal brand.
Yeah.
So how do you monetize that in a non-creepy way where it's actually a good thing because you show there's real value you're bringing?
Yeah.
So how do you walk that fine line between monetization and building a great reputation and trust with the people around you?
I think the best way to do it is to get to a point where people are asking you to be paid for the connection. Ideally, if you bring enough value, it'll become apparent that somebody needs to actually give you monetary value for what you're bringing. But I think ultimately the way that I've done it is just being very candid about alignment, right? It becomes a little weird if the two people aren't aligned. But if you guys have the same incentives, same goals, then the concept of me connecting you to a monetary transaction, right? You look around naturally and say, well, who helped me build this? Who helped me get to this point? And then you turn around and say, well, Davion's one of those folks in that equation. And so the monetary value, I think, in some ways becomes a bit self-evident.
Yeah, and also what you said is really relevant, that you don't ask for money, people offer you money.
Ideally.
Ideally, of course.
I think that's the best way to do it. But yeah, to your point, it never starts off as, I need money now or here's my price. It really also starts off as, what are you looking for? because there's a lot of places where I may not be able to add value. But again, over the course of just listening, getting to know people in authentic ways, again, it becomes kind of obvious when I can add value. And I'd like to think the people I talk to have the integrity base to make sure that people are taken care of on a monetary level.
And what types of introductions do you do on a day-to-day basis today? And what is your bigger purpose? Like, what is the reason you do it? Obviously, we talked about enjoying the process, but is there like a bigger picture where you actually really want to help people?
Yeah, so I think so. As a private equity fundraiser, I'm very used to wanting to help sell different private equity products for people.
Yeah.
So on a day-to-day basis, I really listen to different emerging managers, founders, and understand what their true capital base might be. And so my job is to create qualified leads for them, right? And so I introduce them in that way. I also feel like I introduce folks that want to do volunteer work. It feels as though in the industry of private equity and finance, people not only want to do the big jobs of for-profit, but they want to give back. And so I find a lot of my connections are also grouping that specific group of folks with nonprofit initiatives as well.
And where do you find them? Do you go to lots of networking events? Is it lots of LinkedIn? Is it other people introducing you, other people then you introduce to people? Like, what does that change for you to build your own network?
It's all of the above. I would say at least once a week I'm at some networking event. It's great to be close to New York City. There's always something going on. Yeah. And then one of my rules of thumb is, if I meet somebody who I have an interest in or vice versa, I have to get a meeting within about 10 days of meeting them, just so that momentum kind of continues. But outside of that, yes, LinkedIn, I would say, is top 3 different websites that I use on a daily basis.
Of course. And as you said, it's great to follow up when you meet someone within 10 days to make sure you stay top of mind, that you don't forget about it, and you keep that momentum going. So do you have some kind of system to track all the introductions you make or receive? Do you have a spreadsheet? Do you use a tool? Like, what are you using?
Yeah, I would say old school now because AI. So yes, it is the Excel spreadsheet. I think, having spent 4 to 5 years in investment banking, and an Excel spreadsheet is one of my best friends. So absolutely, if I go out and meet somebody, their name is in the spreadsheet. But I also value Calendly a lot. In addition to scheduling the meetings, there's a cool feature on Calendly where it goes back and it documents everybody that you've had a meeting with over the course of that particular link being live. And so I also use that on a monthly basis. I'll go back to the Calendly and I'll say, this month, give me all the meetings that I had, right? And I'll go through and then kind of systemically place them into different parts of my network to see where the connections can be made.
And do you have some kind of tool to track introductions over time so that if a deal comes out of one of those introductions, you potentially can get paid a referral commission? Do you have some kind of system for that?
Not one that's in an actual tech form. I think my system for that is just authenticity and following up. Yep. But to your point about intro stars, that's why it's so wonderful, because you finally have a place where it takes out the clutter of trying to do all of that, right? And so a platform like IntroStars would be the go-to for me, because prior to that, no, it was really just, hopefully my memory jogs itself to check back in on a connection.
Yeah, we obviously want to make it easy so you don't have to think about it. It becomes second nature, and it just tracks everything over time, make it super easy, and forget about it. And if anything ever comes out of it, boom, it's there. You get a message saying, hey, there's a nice referral commission waiting for you. Like, here's $5,000, right?
There you go.
So easy. And really the goal is to inspire more people to do it. So let's talk about other people around you. Are you surrounded by lots of super connectors? Are you surrounded by young entrepreneurs or founders who want to become super connectors, or are looking to connect more people, want to receive more connections? What kind of advice would you have for them?
I think the advice is just start now. Again, I think if you don't feel a natural gratification and eagerness to kind of add value to folks, then maybe super connecting is not the place. But if you do have that, I think it just makes sense to kind of put yourself out there, go to the networking events, and be around folks that have just kind of like-mindedness, right? I think that's kind of the best thing that I would say to them is start with folks that are like-minded, and eventually you're kind of find the path where things happen quickly, right? One connection leads to 10 obviously leads to kind of more, and then with intro stars, I'm sure those numbers are pretty much so multiplied.
I mean, the goal is to inspire people to make more introductions, because that will elevate their personal brand and their reputation, so they start receiving more introductions as well. And as a startup founder, this is the most important thing you can do for your startup, is to get great introductions to your ideal customers, to your ideal investors, to your ideal business partners. And so to elevate your reputation as a super connector, just help others with great introductions.
Right.
So it's kind of this virtuous circle, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It feels like a little bit like breathing, right? if you inhale, you have to exhale.
Yeah.
And so if you're connecting people, ideally what's going to happen is someone's going to come around and start connecting you as well.
So what are you working on right now? What is your venture you're excited about this year? Any big things coming up in the next couple of months for you?
Yeah, so traditionally I work with private equity clients, emerging managers, so the guys just starting off trying to raise different assets. And I've stepped my foot into the AI infrastructure world. And so I currently have a team that looks to data mine different AI startups, and they look to me to help fill certain quotas in terms of fundraising initiatives. And so that's exciting because it's live, it's in living color now. A lot of folks told me about the dot-com bubble and how they profited off of that. I was about 5 when that started. So now it's really exciting to be a part of this new frontier of technology and hopefully be able to attract capital to the best and the brightest in that space.
So where can people follow you? What's the best place to follow your adventures, run into you at networking events?
Yeah, I definitely think LinkedIn. I'm all over LinkedIn. It's just Davion Louis, Davion Louis. And then, of course, that's actually the same on Instagram as well. So for better or for worse, my name is my actual handle. And then I'm around a lot of networking events in New York City.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Davion. Really enjoyed our conversation.
Likewise.
I hope to run into you at many networking events and follow
sure.
your adventures, and hopefully, get to connect millions of people around the world.
That would be wonderful. We can build it together.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Davion.
Likewise.
Great to have you.